The only change has been that you voluntarily took a lower paying job.
Yes, sir.
How is this any different than a man who becomes voluntarily underemployed?
God damn!
This one is a shorty, yet a goodie. It is so amazing to now see family court judges begin to support fathers when their ex-wife begin to become unreasonable. And this case demonstrates just that. The mother in this case, who's down here, has filed a motion to demand more money from the dad after she voluntarily took a lower paying job. Let's get active. Without further ado.
This is another appeal from the same date, Judge. Both parties are here. I believe the issue in this case, Judge, is it was another modification. He was paying $504 per month, and based on the income information provided on December 16th, it went up to $732 per month. And the issue is, I spoke with the parties before court, Judge. I believe the issue is that Mr. Doncuse is saying that in January of 2023, Ms. Doncuse made almost double the amount of money that she's making now. We based her income on $2,080, which is her actual income at this time. Back in January of 2023, she made $3,359 per month gross income. So a little over $1,200 difference, or $1,200 difference in income per month. And he's of the opinion, they're both ready to testify, but he's of the opinion that we should impute her income at the amount that she was capable of making back at that time. But we just based it on the actual income at the time.
So we need to have a hearing on that? Well, let me hear his.
Yes, sir.
It is Mr. Doncuse's appeal.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Doncuse, you talked with Mr. Powers. Are you requesting to have an evidentiary hearing?
Correct.
All right, we'll have that hearing. You have a seat. It is a trial de novo on,
Yes, sir.
on the appeal, so
Yes, sir.
Mr. Doncuse, you need to come up, have a seat at the table.
You want to hear from us first, Judge?
We will hear from whatever proof you have the
Yes, sir.
moving party, so
Yes,
we'll
sir.
put you on first. If you will, are you calling your client?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Doncuse, if you'll raise your right hand.
If it's not clear what's happening right now, this is the ex-wife. Over here was the ex-husband, and the ex-wife has come prepared with a lawyer. Now, generally, I always tell my guys, invest in a lawyer if you do have the funds, but this brother did not in this case. Carrying on.
You'll come around and have a seat in the witness stand, please.
Request the state to file a petition for modification on your behalf.
I did because I received a letter from Child Support Services stating that I could send in for a review.
That's fine. And we filed that on or around October 29th of last year.
Yes, sir.
And our first court appearance was December of last year, December 16th.
Yes,
Does that
sir.
sound familiar? And on that date, what income information did you provide?
My current income information, where I've been working since April of 24.
Okay, and how much do you make per hour?
$12.35 an hour.
Well, that's how much you make now, but at that time, how much did you make?
At that time, I was making $12 an hour.
$12 an hour, but you got a 35-cent an hour raise since that time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to clarify the judge why we used $12 instead of $12.35.
Right.
And I believe you have a parenting plan in place, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
With days of visitation. Would those days of visitation in that parenting plan be 257 for you and 108 for Mr. Doncuse?
Yes, sir.
And those are the hours that you provided proof
Yes.
of, and we use those in the calculation. And
So the mother has the children almost 2/3 of the time. And previously they filed a motion for higher child support from the father, but she clocked it at $12 an hour. Let's listen up to what she was making before that.
there was no work-related child care or health insurance or anything like that was included.
No, sir.
And I believe, Judge, that was all the information that was provided to us at the time. Mr. Doncuse appeared and provided his information. We can get that from him when he
So at
testifies.
the time of the hearing, and she was making $12 an hour, and now she's making $12.35 an hour.
Yes, sir.
How many hours a week do you work?
On average, 40 now.
40?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you worked? What is the nature of your job?
I work at a gas station,
And where is that gas station?
right here on Highway.
Okay. And how long have you worked at that?
Since April of 2024.
And where did you work before then?
I worked for the same company for about 16 years, had been put into management and sent out to Nashville. And I had a situation where I wasn't able to get to my children because I don't have anybody else in Dixon that can help support our children. If anything happens at school, if they get sick. So I took a lower paying job to be in Dixon so that I could provide that support for my children.
Pay attention.
You took a lower paying job voluntarily to come to work in Dixon so you'd have more access to your children.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
And what were you making at the prior job?
At my prior job, I was on salary. I think I was making around 840 gross a week before taxes.
840 gross a week is a little over $20 an hour. So she took a pay cut from a management position to hourly, making literally half of the money that she was making before. All because she says that there was an issue that happened and she wasn't able to get to the children as quick as what she wanted to. But notice she doesn't bring any information to what that situation was or any receipts as to show the gravity of the situation. But instead, this entitled mother probably didn't like management anymore and wanted a shorter commute and wants the ex-husband to pay the difference. And the judge has already caught on.
The prior child support obligation was calculated using that income, though?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the only change has been that you voluntarily took a lower paying job?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Mr. Powers, anything further?
No, sir, I believe that's everything, Judge.
How is this any different than a man who becomes voluntarily underemployed?
It's not.
I didn't see any difference, Judge,
There isn't.
but this happened after the fact, after the hearing. This came about, and so.
But you agree that the only change would have been her voluntarily reducing her income, which I
Yes, sir.
understand. I mean, you want to be close to your children, but
Right. He, all of his family moved to Clarksville, where he moved to after our divorce. So I don't have them to help support if anything happens with the children, which is the only reason that I ended up taking a lower paying job, was just for that support for my kids.
all right. Well,
They need
thank you.
financial
You can step
support.
down. You have anything else, Mr. Powers?
No, sir.
All right. I'm going to set aside the findings and recommendations of the child support magistrate and reinstate the original court-ordered child support. And I do that, and I make this specific finding that the only change in this case that occurred was, according to the proof, the fact that the mother took a lower paying job in order to have better access and more opportunities to be with her children. And in this court's opinion, that's a voluntary reduction of her income is identical to a man. If a man was employed at a higher paying wage and voluntarily reduced his income to have better opportunity for the children, which we see all the time, in my
Equality.
opinion, that would not be a basis for the reduction of his child support. In fact, it would be found to be voluntarily underemployed. So I'm just simply finding that there is no basis on those sole facts for the increase in Mr. Don Coos's child support. So I'm reinstating the original order.
Wow.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
I agree with you on that fact,
Right.
but it wasn't something I could
Look, the lawyer.
change after the fact. So-
I don't blame her for doing what she did. I
Yes,
think
I-
she
I
was
don't-
justified in doing it, but the increase in his child support was not justified by anything that he may have done. So,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
In Tennessee, a material change in circumstances is a significant change that impacts a child's well-being or current parenting plan. A parent can request a modification to a child custody agreement by filing a petition if they can show that there has been material change in circumstances. And some of those material changes, a parent relocating, a parent's health and or lifestyle that affects the ability to parent. Those two were not a factor. In fact, it was her wanting to relocate closer to her home. Changes in child's educational or emotional needs. Parents' failure to follow the parenting plan or the custody order. The parent's unwillingness to communicate or make joint decisions. A change in a child's primary residence, school, or access to essential care. Now, if she came in and started to say that, hey, because of the distance away, I am unable to follow the parenting plan, or if the child child had to move schools, that would be more of a case for a material change. But it says right here that the petitioner must prove the material change in circumstances by a preponderance of the evidence. These changes will only be considered for the child's best interest. Her taking a job somewhere else was not in the child's best interest, as recognized for the judge. It was for her own best interest and wanted to do it on the husband's dime. Cases like this always seem to come up when the ex-wife wants to prioritize her own self-interest over the interests of the child in spite of their ex. But now in 2025, the judges are beginning to see through the BS. Do you think that we're beginning to see some changes? Guys, write some comments down in the comment box down below. And I will see you guys soon. Last but not least, join my men's self-development community. If you have a focus on financial education, leveling up, upgrading, being your best version of yourself into the future, understanding tips and tricks in order to ensure a life of flexibility, joy, and happiness, this is the Brotherhood for you. Click the link down in the description box down below, beam up, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube, peace.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber screaming period and yes. You a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up by a high value man.